So I was thinking for today, I'm going to just kind of start by explaining the report and then kind of giving you an overview of what happened in Durham. So I'm just going to pull up the report here. So everyone can see the report here now, correct?
Yep.
Yep. So this is the sales overview report, which is giving you a high-level idea of what happened in each particular city from Pickering all the way through to Coburg. So the top is just kind of giving you little summations of what has happened. So first, for the week that it was for, you'll see how many sales there were in Pickering, and then how many got full price or went over asking. Now, I think I'm actually going to change this based on a comment Lindsay made at stakeholders, which I think is really good. As of right now, we're doing at or over. And on the right-hand column, that's where you can see the history of how many homes are selling at or over list price. I think what I'm going to change it to is how many went at list price and how many actually went over, and then give you the percentage of the over. So that way we can continue to track both and see two indicators rather than just group them into one. On the left-hand side here, this is a breakdown of where all of those homes have sold in a $50,000 price bracket. So we'll start at 0 and we'll go up to 1.5 million and over. The bottom left corner over here, you're going to see everything that was terminated or did price changes in the last week. The top box here, this is how many homes went conditionals for last week. And then the rest of the box is actually how many new homes came on to the market for that particular city. So you'll see, for example, Pickering last week had 52, the week before 63, 3 weeks ago 54, and then 57 the 4 weeks ago. The bottom 4 boxes are giving you a breakdown of the full activity in that city. So how many listings there are as of the date that the report was pulled. So for example, today in Pickering, you had 299 homes. That is across all types. So that is going to be semi-detached townhomes. It's going to be linked style homes, and all of your price points are included in there. The next box is how many new homes hit the market. Next one is how many homes went conditional in that city, then firm sales and turnover. So turnover is the number of firm sales, so 15 divided by the number of total listings, 299. And that is a percentage of inventory that left the market for that particular week. And then what you'll see is that's repeated again for the week before. So 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and 4 weeks ago. Any questions on that part, guys? No, all pretty self-explanatory. Perfect. I'm going to use Whippy as an example, just because we have a little bit more data. If you are looking at Pickering and Ajax, we just recently started doing it. So there's going to be a couple bottom boxes over here that are currently empty. However, it will fill out after 4 more weeks.
For Nat,
Yep.
So I've been getting these reports for well over a year now, just through Brad. Do you want me to send you the last 4 weeks for Pickering so you can just fill them out now, or?
If you want to, you certainly can. That would be helpful, and
Okay.
I'll put that in there.
Okay.
Does he do Pickering and Ajax?
Yes. So
Okay.
He does Pickering out to Clarington.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, if you want to send over, I guess the last. You'd have to go back quite a bit. Yeah, so if you did March 2nd and then 4 weeks back, if he has that information.
Yep, sounds good. I'll get it for you.
Perfect, thank you. So just as a total kind of overview, from Pickering to Newcastle, this week we had 324 new homes hit the market, 114 homes went conditionally sold, and 122 went firm sales. The previous week, we were actually up in our sold conditionals from 99 to 114, but we're down 15 units in the number of sales. Again, this is to be expected with everything going on with Easter weekend. So again, that is not too pivotal. So when I'm looking at this report, and guys, stop me if you have any questions, I'm looking at a few different things. The first thing that I'm looking at is inventory turnover. Again, this is kind of saying how much of that inventory is leaving the market. And traditionally, we want that to be nice and high. Again, when we start going from a buyer's market to a seller's market, that starts getting up into that 25 to 40, and even we saw 50% and higher during our last few peaks. I'm going to pull up one more report here just to kind of give you guys a comparison. Let me just share entire screen. Okay, so you guys can see two reports now, correct? Can you guys see two? Sorry, can't hear you.
Sorry, we're all on mute. Yeah, we can see two.
Okay, perfect. So this last report over here, the one that's in burgundy, that is actually last year's report. And what you'll notice, if we're looking at market turnover, last year we were sitting at 17.9% inventory turnover. The week before, 18, again, almost 20, and then almost 20. If you notice where we're at this year for the last 4 weeks, we're sitting around that kind of 8 to 10%, which is what we want to see higher. And that's what, when we talk about things affecting us, like I think the biggest thing affecting us right now is the tariffs. You can, when you're talking to your clients, you can show them last year's trend line. We were closer to 20% every week. This year, we are trending about half the percentage of inventory going down. Now, stats can prove whatever you want it to be. So you have to kind of look at what is the important information and why is that stat half the percent that it was last year. Whitby last year, we had 206 listings in all of Whitby versus this year at 350. So we're nearly double the inventory. The number of sales, again, actually isn't too bad, 37 to 27, but you have to take into consideration we did have Easter weekend, so that would normally be a little bit less. If you start looking at other weeks, again, 37 to 31, 3 weeks ago, 38 to 33%. So the number of sales actually isn't down. The volume is pretty good, slightly down, but it's truly our inventory that is up. So that's where, when you look at this report and you're seeing, okay, inventory is higher. If you have listings up or buyers up, look at your particular price point and see how competitive it is. So that's where I now come over to this section over here and look at the breakdown of where homes are selling. Again, you'll have your percentage over here. So it's really nice to look at that. But if you have a listing up and say you're just over $1 million, you'll see last year there's only 2 sales. Pull up how many sales are actually, or sorry, how much inventory there is between that million and $1,050,000. And then you can have that conversation with your client and say, okay, over the last 4 weeks, we've had, say, 8 sales between $1 million and $1,050,000, and we're now looking at a potential price drop that we need to do. For example, if you're between 850 and 9, you might feel a lot more confident as there's a lot of buyers out there. So if you are representing a seller, you can use this report. And if you are representing a buyer, you can use it in a different way as well. You can go in a lot more aggressive if you're noticing that most of the buyers are purchasing at a lower price point versus a higher price point. Use this as a leverage and send it in with your offer if you decide to do so. So once you've kind of looking at the breakdown of inventory that has sold, the next thing I kind of come down to is I look at how many homes are doing price changes or price adjustments. Now, I don't necessarily look at one different than the other because, in my opinion, they both represent the same action. Both are doing price decreases. One is just typically doing a cancel and a relist. The other one is just dropping it out. So I'm always adding the numbers up together to see what the difference is. If we're looking at this year versus last year, This year we had 51 homes do price adjustments in this past week. The year before, it was actually only 25. So a lot more homes are starting to lower their price. And again, don't just say that, or just don't take it as that it's double the amount. Take a look at, okay, why are they doing it? Are people doing different listing strategies? Are they pricing low, then going up? Are they pricing high, trying to have a little bit of that wiggle room? And then giving room for kind of negotiation. Everything that you take a look at, I always think of take it with a grain of salt until you do more research back into it. The last section, again, is your sold over or for full price. This report is really good, or this section of the report is really good, because if you are trying to think of holding off strategy, pricing low, trying to get multiple offers, this is where you want to come and look to see how many homes are getting their full price. If no homes are getting their full price, then you may want to say to your clients, hey, let's actually factor in a percentage or a certain dollar amount that we can give up when we get to negotiations. If only 20% of homes are getting full price, we know that the offer coming in is actually going to decrease or be likely lower than what our list price is. So you want to factor that in. Just going to exit out of last year's report here for you guys. Pull up. Sorry. This is last week's report, so you'll be able to see again. All of these reports are now up on the drive. And does everyone have access to that drive from stakeholders? Jennifer, do you have the drive there? Okay. I'm going.
Sorry, I probably do. I just don't know where to look.
Okay.
Yeah. Where would it? I have tons of marks.
It was sent out in the stakeholder slides. I'm also going to now just put it in our chat here.
Okay. I'll bookmark it then. So going forward, it will always be here.
Yep. I'll always try to have access to it for you guys as well, so that we can use it. Perfect.
Can I ask a question? You might have already answered, but
yeah, most certainly.
Talking. Where does this? So we had a staff meeting earlier, and we were looking at stats from Habistat.
Yep.
And apparently they're different than the HPI stats. So they must get their data from different. So where does the data for this report, and how does it compare to like CLAR and Habistat and HPI? Like,
I don't know where CLAR pulls their data from, or sorry, not CLAR. I don't know where Habistat pulls its data from. The information that I'm pulling, I'll show you exactly where I get it. So let me just share different. I'm just going to show you a different window. If you click on, if you're in Realm, everyone can see my Realm here. Click over on the 9 dots that kind of looks like a dial pad, and you're going to click on Notice Pages. So Notice Pages pulls all of its data right directly from Realm. So all the information is coming from there of when agents are updating it. So on the side here, typically when I run it, I will do it for Durham, and then I'll select Whitby. Now, the little box here, you always want to unselect because it's just going to run it from the last time you pulled the report. So you're going to run it from whatever days you want it. So for me, I run it every week, and we'll send you guys that information. So it's going to pull it from April 14th to April 20th. And when I hit submit, it now breaks it down in all the information. So I can see how many new homes were listed and a list of all of those homes. You will see how many homes did a price change. And again, it will show you every single one. So now when you are looking at your stats of saying, okay, these homes did price changes, well, how much of a price change are they doing it? Again, if you're considering doing a price drop with your clients on a listing, what is average happening for you? Are we dropping $10,000? Are we dropping $20,000? You can now investigate that stat a little bit further and get more detail around it. All right. And then we can see all the homes that sold conditional, homes that sold firm. And again, it's giving me a breakdown of every single aspect of the transaction or the phases of a home. Does that make sense, Jennifer? Yeah. Okay, perfect.
All right, I'm on mute. Yes, yes, thanks.
Okay, awesome. So now I can see. When I have the windows up and going over the reports, I can't see anyone. One thing that I don't know if you guys want to do, sorry, just trying to. So we want to make sure that these reports are available to you guys. Use them in your social media, use them in your client feedback. For me, Monday mornings are typically my administration day. So I do all the numbers, go over the stats, so that way I can have conversations with clients, conversations with buyers, conversations with sellers. For my sellers, what I do, if we're selling in Oshawa, I take the Oshawa page and then I attach it to my list of my client feedback template that I have. And then I also attach all the homes that sold either in their neighborhood, their price point, or depending on the client, sometimes they get every single home that sold in Oshawa. So use it as a tool to have conversations with your clients, use it as a tool to provide feedback, use it in your social media. It's all branded, so it comes in PDF, save it as a JPEG if you need to, and then you can send it out via social media, email, however you guys want to. But please use it as much as you want and in all the ways too. Any questions about any particular city that anyone wants to kind of go over? Like if you have a listing up now, or if you have a buyer and you want to kind of go over a particular area that they're transacting in, just let me know. We can discuss that here too. I'll pull up the report.
Well, I do have a buyer interested in a property, but he thinks it's overpriced.
Yeah.
So we haven't put an offer in.
So where are you looking at?
So I think it's 2275 Highway 2 in Newtonville. It might be considered Newcastle. Out there, the address is kind of a little strange. I think it's cheap. I'm going to look it up here.
And you said it's in Newtonville?
I think so. Yeah, it's like right downtown. Downtown. I think it's 2275 Highway 2. I'm just going to double check.
Yes,
Yeah.
I see here.
Oh, I have it wrong. Or sorry, 4475 Highway 2.
4475 Highway 2. Price at $1,040,000.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
already dropped. It was in the fall. We looked at it. Now he's relisted it. Price dropped again, but my buyer still thinks it's too much. It's hard out there with the rural, right? Because there's not a lot to compare.
Rural and planned communities really typically are a bit more challenging to price. Again, you don't have the same comparables that you do when you are selling in a planned community. And at the end of the day, a house is only worth what a buyer's willing to pay for it and a seller's willing to let it go. So for me, when I have clients, and I often deal with clients that find homes that are overpriced because a lot of mine are moving into rural parts or into Port Hope where it's not planned community. I never want to offend anyone. So what I personally do is I put it together like a business presentation. What I'll do is I'll take the listing and figure out, okay, how long have they been on the market? What is happening? And then I will take a look. So I'm going to pull up Clarington for us. I think this should be this week's. Okay, so if we're looking at the report here, we're going to go over to Clarington because that's where they're going to fall, right? So we know right now in Clarington, there was only one house that sold over $950,000 last week. Again, you can start pulling this together with 2 weeks ago for the report, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, and you can start looking, okay, how many homes are selling between $1 million and $1.05 million? Sometimes that just may not happen. And this past week was actually a fairly quiet week in Clarington. Normally, Clarington does have homes that sell over $1 million, right? But again, you can also use this as leverage for you in negotiations. Okay, if I'm looking at how many homes sold last week, it was only 20 homes. The week before was 30, 23, and 31. So we're kind of averaging that 25 homes are leaving the market every week. Now, their days on market may be going up. And again, use that to your advantage. Okay, only 6.8% of the homes left the market. That's very low. We know we should be at that 20% typically at this time of the year. And then use it the right side of the column. Okay, how many homes are getting their full price? And apparently I need to fix a formula because I see a wrong one over here. But only 40% of homes last week that sold in Clarington got full price or over. The week before, 57% got full price or over. So really, it's only a half of the inventory out there is getting what they're listed at. Not very likely that a seller is going to get what they want, right? So take this, attach it, be like, hey, here's a document that shows that we're not getting a lot of full price offers right now. You're now 39 days or however many days on the market, and here's your comps. Again, you're using all your tools to now go into a presentation and say, this is a home we want, and this is why we are arriving at the price that we are at.
And I could show this to the listing agent, or no,
Yeah.
it's just my
Yeah.
buyer.
Show it to your buyer, show it to the listing agent. Like I've put it in presentations before. And I say, okay, you know what? This is how I'm coming to my facts. I typically start with the homes that have sold. So here are your comparables and here's what they've sold at. And here's what's going on in the market. We're actually seeing a decline in the number of sales over the last 4 weeks. In Clarington, it's a little bit different. They've been up and down, but you'd say, okay, we've seen a decline in the number of sales. We're not seeing any buyers right now over that $1 million price point. So we want to work with you. We want to put a deal together, but based off of the trends, where the market is currently at and past historic sales, this is why we've arrived at a price point of X, whether you're at $950, $975, but then it takes it away from being an opinion to here's market research. And again, I find it helps when you don't want anyone to be offended. Again, it's not personal, it's market data. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, you're very welcome. Any other particular questions, guys, on that? Hello, Roger Dodger.
Hey, how's it going? I'm trying to shut my camera off and my mic. I'm sorry, buddy. Just,
No worries, it's all good.
can you mute me? I'm sorry, man. I'm on my phone. I've never done this one on my.
Yeah, you are muted now. So again, we're going to do this call every week. Today, really just want to explain kind of how to interpret the report. I'm going to typically every week have the information of what happened last year. That way we can start seeing, okay, this is what happened this week. What is our trend? And then also, how does it relate to last year? That way we can see, are we trending up? Are we trending down? Do we need to be getting a little bit more aggressive with our buyers or our sellers? What kind of conversations do we need to be having from this report? And then this year's report is going to be emailed out every Monday afternoon at 1 p.m.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is this recorded or no? Just, I have another like standing meeting that goes till 11:45 every Monday. So yeah, I'm always going to miss like the first. I tried to do the double, but I can't mute one and not the other. So it was like really confusing hearing two at the same time. Either I have to start halfway through or I can watch the first 15 minutes on video. I don't know what is better, but I don't want to be rude, always coming in late, but that's
Yeah.
the situation. I
No,
don't.
it's not rude coming in late. So if you want to come in late, or if you want to be on, and then have your camera off, or have your camera on, but just your microphone muted, I know, because you guys have your training, your Rich Robbins training,
Yeah,
right?
it goes till 11:45.
Yeah. So by all means, jump on the call, have it muted. I do want to have this recorded each week. I understand Mondays are a busy day for a lot of people. Follow up from the weekend, different admin stuff, different trainings. So again, we will always record it, put it out there. And then once you're done your other call, by all means, unmute yourself, ask questions, join the call here, and you'll be able to see what's happening.
Okay.
Yeah. And I understand some weeks people aren't going to be able to jump on. But if someone wants to discuss kind of what is happening in their situation and go over the reports with me, again, that second 15-minute segment of this call is really what I want us to do, more kind of Q&A style that helps everyone out. The first 15 minutes will be more just kind of going over what has actually happened in the marketplace. Sound good, guys?
Yes, this is very helpful. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And check your emails. The first one's going to go out in about an hour. So you'll get this week's report and use it as you want. And hopefully it will help you with business and conversations with clients.
Sorry, Nat, I want to apologize. I had it in my notes for 11:30. I had a personal day today, but so I'm really late, and that's not
No worries.
gonna happen.
It's
So
all
it's
good.
recorded. We'll find it in the recording.
Yeah, so all of our recordings go onto our YouTube page, I believe. But I'll follow up and double check where, actually, do we know where we're storing the calls?
Yeah, we can upload it in YouTube.
Okay, yeah. So all of them will be on the YouTube page there. And then hopefully my presentation gets better and better every week with them too.
Okay, so like I mentioned, you probably covered it today, Nat, was having that discussion with my buyers, looking at these numbers and talking with my buyers and educating and letting them know, hey, this is a good time for you guys to move forward because the numbers are telling us this. This is what you kind of went over.
Yep. Yeah, so what we talked about was just, we looked at, we pulled Whitby as our example. And what it does is we're going to say, we analyze kind of like a quick overview of where the information is on the report, and what each one is. So again, the breakdown of where the sales happened, how many homes did a price change or termination, how many homes are getting full price. Based off of a comment Lindsay made at stakeholders, I do think I'm going to make a change to that far right side. So where it's how many homes sold over or for full price, I'm going to change it so that one line is how many homes sold over price, how many homes sold at list price. That way we can really separate the two, because I'm not truly doing full justice by showing how many went over by grouping them together. And then we looked at the middle section where, again, it's a 4-week trend. We can analyze how many homes went on the market for the 4 weeks over and over. So you can look at new listings for last week and say 77 homes. The week before that was 88. The week before that was 75, and then 93. So you can see if inventory is building. As a buyer, you may not be as rushed. If interest rates are coming down, more inventory is hitting the market, I'm not under the gun to buy, I may actually use that as a leveraging tool and wait a little bit more. Or I may use this as a leveraging tool in negotiations and say to the listing agent, hey, you know what? Durham's inventory has increased 33% over the last 4 weeks, and sales are actually down right now. So this is why I'm coming to you at a lower price. Again, you'll be able to analyze different trends and different things from the report. Awesome. All right, guys, I think that's going to finish up our first call, but we'll be back together next Monday and go over the reports. And again, keep an eye out on your emails. You should be having that come in very shortly. Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Happy Easter.
Bye.
Bye.